when I was growing up, I had no control over the same sex attraction that developed in me. It was not a choice. It was not something I wanted. Back in the day, it was not acceptable in society. So I obviously didn't want that. Uh, so there are obviously, and for men, it's interesting because for quote unquote gay men, it seems to be more hardwired than in women. Women, because in college I knew women who said that, who experimented with lesbianism, but after they graduated and moved to LA, they ended up going back to men, and now they're married, they have husbands and children and families, and they're not lesbians. So there is something to it. Seems like it's hardwired in men and soft wired in women. It's more of like an um, emotional factor in women, whereas men is just like it seems built in. Back in the day, it was not acceptable in society, so I obviously didn't want that. Uh, and so in that case, when it's a child or a young person, whatever, who comes out to a parent or a family member, and that's the case, and it's, something they can't help that they're attracted to the same sex. Um, my, I mean, there's different ways to broach this. I always say that, my parents were amazing at this because they believed that homosexual behavior was sinful. But when they found out that I was quote unquote gay, their response was so loving and so compassionate. And part of that was just, I think, because I was the youngest of 8 kids, and they were just a little bit, they was just kind of tired by by the time I was coming out to them. And but they were just very mellow about it. And I've done the episode on my mother. My mother just she had a breakdown when I first told her and cried, and my dad asked me if, he did anything wrong, but as a father, but then they just prayed for me. Especially my mother. She prayed for me for years and years and never brought it up again. Because that's really, I mean, because I get emails and messages from parents a lot, and um that's really all you can do, which is not a little thing. I mean, going to the throne room of God is the best thing you can do. Instead of trying to manipulate your child and convince them not to be gay, not to, you know, pursue that. Yes, have that first conversation, have that initial conversation, or even more, have a few conversations about it, and just tell your child, hey, I want to understand this. Like, what are you feeling? Why do you think you feel this way? And how can we help? How can we come alongside you and help you? Um, and some kids will accept that help, some won't. It's interesting because back in my day, I've said this before, back in my day, it was when a gay person came out to their family, they would get excommunicated from the family. They would get kicked out of the house. Not all the time, but this was kind of a semi-common theme. They would get kicked out of the house, but now it's the reverse. Children are cutting their parents off if they don't fully affirm who they are, quote unquote. And so we've seen the sea change happen in culture over the last 30, 40 years, uh, because media, because media, TV, movies has made homosexuality so normalized. It's normalized homosexuality so much. And it's completely shaped an entire generation, if not 2 generations or 3. I'm thinking of Gen X and millennials and Gen Z. They've all been shaped by this That's really, I mean, the best thing you can do for your child when they come out. And but if they're in high school, that's a different thing. Because I came out to my parents when I was, I think, 22. But if they're in high school, I mean, they're, still minors, they're living under your roof, and you can have control. You can control what they do and don't do, like where they go, who they see, who they go out with. I mean, that is an option, obviously. So, but once they're adults and once they're on their own, there's really nothing you can do except pray for them and just love them, be in their lives as much as you can, and there's all sorts of mines in the minefield of, do I go to their gay wedding? Do I go to, do I let their partner come for Christmas? Do I let, and I've done videos on those things. So that's how I would broach the issue with a child. If I had a child, that's how I would broach it, is I would just have an initial conversation about it, let them, just listen to my child, hear them out, see what, factors may have contributed to it, and and then just pray for them. That's what my family did. That's what my sister-in-law did, who's in my book, Kim. She did that. She prayed for me and prayed for me, but she was so loving to me and wanted to hang out with me. So, yeah, I think that's the best route. I would just have an initial conversation about it, let them, just listen to my child, hear them out, see what, factors may have contributed to it, and and then just pray for them.